Fuse is one of the most underhyped titles in the video game industry right now, but I can't really figure out why. Usually this kind of under-advertising is reserved for games that publishers are truly embarrassed about, but even those typically have some kind of hype. I think we all remember Colonial Marines. The characters are good, the mechanics are nearly perfect, and the graphics are passable, I guess. In fact, the only genuinely embarrassing element of Fuse is its storyline, and I'll admit it's pretty bad. Well, it's not as much bad as it is cliched or practically non-existent. It's not that this type of storyline can't be done well, it's just that we've seen it so often that it can't be done poorly, and Fuse unfortunately just isn't up to the challenge. The main enemy is one of those well-funded Russian supervillains that America became obsessed with in the 1960s and 70s. He's mad about something and wants to use an arsenal of super weapons to destroy everything that makes him mad. And yes, we are a team of underdog heroes, and we're trying to put a stop to his evil plan. See, Fuse has all the ingredients of a Michael Bay blockbuster movie, so you can understand why I'm confused about its lack of hype. Though I guess it's not really fair to refer to the members of the Overstrike 9 team as underdogs exactly. As the game progresses, they actually start to feel like whatever the opposite of an underdog is. Their weapons become incredibly powerful, and completing missions becomes a matter of working together rather than firepower. The team is made up of 4 characters: Izzy, Naya, Dalton, and Jacob. The 2 females, Izzy and Naya, hold the weapons that pack the most punch. Naya Devereaux, for instance, has a cloaking unit that allows her to sneak past enemy lines and break a few enemy necks, but she also has a weapon called the Warp Rifle that creates terrifying vortexes. Izzy, on the other hand, uses a weapon called the Shatter Gun. After Izzy connects with a few enemies, they're encased in crystal and kind of lifted out of cover. She's my favorite, obviously. The 2 dudes, Dalton and Jacob, have attacks that are a little more specialized. Jacob is the team sniper. The bolts from his crossbow cause enemies to burst into flames, which is kind of sweet. And Dalton, the team's leader, has the squad's only defensive weapon, the Mag Shield. The Mag Shield provides protection when cover is scarce, but it also allows players to collect any rounds that actually hit the shield and fire them back at enemy forces. All of the weapons are powered by a mysterious element called Fuse. It's the same element that powers all of those enemy bombs as well. Hopefully the game's title makes sense now. While most co-op games are primarily centered around a single-player campaign that has some kind of tacked-on co-op component, Fuse takes the opposite approach. This is a game that's primarily been designed to be a 4-player co-op title, but it does somewhat begrudgingly allow for solo play, although I will admit that it didn't have the same appeal when I played it alone. But playing solo does allow you to jump from one character to another in real time, which I know should be used for utilitarian purposes, but I eventually just used it to switch characters when my Fuse weapons would run out of ammo. At the end of the day, Fuse probably isn't going to be a blockbuster Michael Bay-style video game. Unfortunately, it suffers from an incredible bout of boredom. As much as I love the characters, the game never becomes anything more than a collection of explosions. And these days, with titles like Tomb Raider and Bioshock Infinite hitting the market, it's really hard to ignore the fact that Fuse manages to completely avoid telling a story over its entire 8-hour campaign. I think every video game developer hopes to introduce something that's genuinely unique into the market. But when you're working with big-name publishers like EA, it can be difficult to maintain the kind of creative freedom that's needed to accomplish this. So instead of real creativity, developers often take classical video game platitudes and sort of tweak them just enough so that they seem clever. And unfortunately, I think this is exactly what's happening with Fuse. But if you're one of those hardcore co-op gamers, Fuse does offer some interesting tricks. Let's just hope it sells enough copies for EA to order a sequel. Maybe then we'll actually get to the bottom of this alien technology mystery.